friends, Axial GT here. Are we witnessing the death of PC gaming? Let's talk about this. So I've been playing games and building PCs for years, or should I say decades. And I've seen many rise and falls in the PC industry, but I've never seen the PC hardware industry in the state it's in today. Now this video has been in the works for weeks, and with tons of experience and a lot of research, I'm going to give you my take on the issues that are plaguing the PC industry. I'll be calling out the bad actors and give a conclusion at the end of the video. Now this video will be broken up into different sections. One, we'll talk about shortages in crypto mining and scalping, corporate greed, and the media, including asshat YouTubers. Then I'll give my conclusion. Now I admit these opinions will be my own, but I'll provide evidence to back up some of my claims, and so you know why I think the way I do. So if I get something wrong, let me know in the comments below. I'll read all of them. And I'm not like others in the space. I don't have feelings, so they won't be hurt. And if you go on to enjoy content like this, be sure to like this video, share this video, and be sure to subscribe for more gaming and PC hardware related content. And hit the bell to be notified of when I upload. It really helps out with smaller creators. With that out of the way, let's get started pissing people off. Okay, shortages. Yes, we're coming off a very trying time. Some say we're still in it. And yes, I do believe the recent zombie apocalypse is real. And I also think part of the resulting shortages are man-made, for reasons I will make clear by the end of the video. Yes, demand is high for PC hardware, and we as gamers have crypto miners to contend with, which is a force in itself. And we all know how I feel about scalpers. I did a video previously discussing this very topic, and I'll link it in the description below. But when it comes to scalpers, there is someone else that really needs to be blamed. These people here, who is bidding on this stuff. These prices are outrageous, and these are the people that give scalpers a reason to scalp. The way I look at things, these people are just as guilty. But moving on to corporate greed. Okay, this section may be lengthy, but we have three players in this space. AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices, Intel, and Nvidia. But to really grasp where I'm coming from, a very short history lesson is required. So let's go back when the last time AMD bested Intel, and that was around 2003. AMD came along and took a huge swipe at Intel's dominance, with the release of the Athlon 64, causing Intel to panic and release the Pentium 4 Extreme Edition, a nuclear furnace of a chip. Now early on AMD had production issues, and despite having a more bang for the buck chip, they couldn't produce enough. The first Athlon 64s were using the 754 socket, but AMD really came to their own stride around the 2005 mark with the introduction of the new 939 socket. At the same time, they released, or re-released, some of its best single-core chips in the form of the Athlon 64, the San Diego chip. Now these 939 chips were high-end and were also expensive. An Athlon 64 X57 was around $1,000, same as Intel's Extreme Edition chips, both trading blows and benchmarks. But one or two steps down saw a huge drop in price. The Athlon 64 3700 Plus was in the $200 to $300 range, and an undercut to Intel's offerings. After the 64 came the X2, a dual-core answer to Intel's Core 2. That's when Intel even tried to undercut AMD. Yeah, you see, that's how competition is supposed to work. But now let's get to modern times, and the release of Ryzen in 2017. And for an example, we'll use the Ryzen 5 1600. This chip competed, but lost in single-thread games to the Intel i5 7600K. But in games that took advantage of Ryzen's increased core count, the AMD chip held its own. Now let's take a look at prices. The Ryzen 5 1600 launched at $220, and the i5 7600K was $217. Now that trend continued to 2019 with the release of the 2600 and the 3600. The 2600 released for $200, which was just a refresh to Zen 1, but so did the 3600, which was Zen 2. Intel increased the i5 8600K to $257, and in 2018 increased to $263 for the 9600K. Then in 2020, AMD being idle since the 3600 release, finally launched the 5600X for $300. See, that's not competition. Prices are increasing for the same tier of chips. What started off as competition has quickly fizzled out. Now comes the GPU side. People have touted they wanted AMD to compete against Nvidia in this space. And normally I would agree with competition, but not when one of the competitors just plays follow the leader. Yes, I'm talking about AMD. They will never be a market leader and increase market share if they continue to act like sheep. They have not had a competitive GPU since the RX 570 and haven't led this space in years. I'm talking all the way back in 2012 with GPUs like the Radeon 7850. Now AMD's graphic division is back with a competitive GPU in the 6000 series. But what do? They copy Nvidia's outrageous gold-digging prices. Now let's talk Nvidia. They have been screwing gamers since the 20 series launch. I did a video previously about shitty YouTuber takes that I'll link in the description. But the pricing of the 20 series cards was just a prelude of what is to come. Nvidia hates you. I hate to break the bad news, but it does. Jensen Huang is the biggest hate monger in the tech industry. Building upon the 20 series, the RTX 30 series continues the price increases of the MSRPs. And yes, MSRPs do mean a lot. It is the bar that manufacturers set. Now, are those prices set in stone? No, but it is the bar unto which we determine value to performance. The GTX 1060 was launched at $250. It was the gamer's card on a budget. The RTX 2060 launched at $350. $100 more, and not even a year later, like 6 to 7 months later, the 2060 Super was released for $400. And before you say it, I know there'll be some in the comments saying that, hey, Nvidia gave us the 1660 for the low end, but that was a smoke and mirrors series. It was damage control for you to get used to the new low end pricing. Now, I was informed around late August, early September, by a friend that works at a major retailer, online and brick and mortar, that Nvidia had or was going to stop production of the 30 series cards before the end of 2021 to keep GPU prices high. Now, at first I didn't believe it. They are just now trickling into being available. Exorbitant prices, yes, but available. Then I saw Moore's Law is Dead address this very thing. It's a good video. You should check it out. I'll link it in the description below also. But in it, he said he heard the same thing. So around November, I went back to my contact and was told he hadn't received any GPUs from Nvidia since early October. So Nvidia had accomplished its contractual obligations, and to keep prices high, and stock prices steadily growing, it halted production for the rest of the quarter and will launch a refresh in January 2022. These new cards may be given MSRPs. I'm thinking probably the same as before, or may not be given an MSRP like they did with the quiet launch of the 2060 12GB card, which is a mining card. Yes, it is a mining card that beats the 3060 in mining. And they also had the nerve to call a 3-year-old card premium. Way to go, Jensen. Way to deep throat miners.
Oh my god. That was awesome.
But remember this, our MSRP war is not over. I am expecting next generation cards, the 4000 series, to have a huge leap in MSRP. I'll talk more about that in the conclusion. But just to give you a heads up, prices are going to go through the roof. Now we have the media, YouTubers included. I've called out Linus Tech Tips before for his asshat take on the 3080 Ti. His justification was, it's a Halo card. And no, it wasn't. Or isn't. That's the 3090, just like the Titan cards before it. High-end cards are stupid expensive, and it started with the 2080 Ti. And very few in the tech space said anything when the card was launched. And if they mentioned it, it was just a side note. Your PC Gamer, your PC Mag, LTT, Joker Productions, all of them are guilty. And I may be way off base, but I find it hard to believe channels like LTT and others give an unbiased opinion. You can't tell me that people giving you multi-$1,000 TVs and computer hardware wouldn't affect your opinions or commentary. I saw a channel a few days ago that tried to justify the high MSRPs. And my jaw really hit the floor. The good old gamer. I mean, wow. Don't get me wrong, I usually love his content, along with not an Apple fan. But he said something, well, here, take a listen.
Wages here, at least in the United States, are up at least 50% from where they were 2 years ago, which means everything else, including food, gas, everything else, is going to go up minimum 50% over where they were. So if you take $250, you add 50%, you're right around $400. So I'm sorry, that's just the way things go. People get paid more, things cost more.
Wow, really? People make 50% more than they did 2 years ago. Dude is smoking crack and full of shit. Anyway, as of 2021, people only make 8% more over the past decade, not 2 years. Then with inflation, it's not even that. In some areas, it's been a pay cut. So trying to justify high MSRPs with that logic is foolish. And tell me in the comments below if you make 50% more than what you did 2 years ago. If you made $10 an hour, do you now make $15? Or if you make $20 an hour, do you now make $30? In the last 2 years, I need to move to that reality, or someone needs to lay off the pipe.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
Now for the conclusion. I laid out my way of thinking in gaming, as in PC gaming, and I think it's going to suffer. The way things are going, your average PC gamer will be pushed out, becoming a rich man's sport, especially with the power of today's consoles. I can't honestly recommend anyone build a desktop gaming system at this point, unless it's a mini PC or an APU build to get them by. For strictly a gamer, a gaming laptop or a console is your best bet, if you can find one within your budget. Now we're calling out corporate greed, or other tech tubers that enjoy kissing people's ass do anything in the long run? No, it won't. But at least you guys know you have somebody that is willing to call these people out. Will Nvidia and AMD change their ways? Nvidia is going to keep jacking up the prices because it increases their stock value. AMD is just going to wind up being cheap and following Nvidia's lead. Now, Intel is going to be entering the market. And given Intel's history, they will also be cheap. They will follow the pricing of AMD and Nvidia. Something drastic is going to have to change and happen for this trend to turn around. Well, there you have it. That's my opinion. Will PC gaming die? No. But if the trend continues, it will be a shell of its former self. But if you enjoyed the video and made it this far, consider subscribing for future Axial GT content. I really do appreciate you watching. Until next time, my friends, I am out of here. You all have a good one.